Okay. Right on. Let's pick up with lust. How could I forget lust? so, we listed 6 of the 7 deadly sins off of the Economist cover from 2012. The same year that they changed the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. Also, the year that was prophesied by the Mayan calendar, right? Where nothing really happened. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. All right. Lust is some scantily clad lady devil with her bosoms abounding as she leaps over a jury box. She looks very much to me like Ghislaine Maxwell. The jury box has a bunch of little devils with pitchforks she's jumping over. The box also could very much be construed as the Great Diamond Asterism, which is a very large asterism in the summer sky relating to the lion. It connects directly to the cat's maybe nose. Some might say it's the nose, some might say it's the other end. It depends on which way you skin the cat. She is being pursued by generals who are doing the grab hands, much like the comedian from Saturday Night Live who became a politician who was fired for doing the grab hands while this lady was sleeping. It was a lusty scandal. I'm starting to think a lot about how Saturday Night Live and the Senate are related in a great many ways. I think they have been throughout the Republic. The use of the Plato's Republic as a governmental modality, I think it requires the social engineering of legislation and also the Actors Guild to work together. The fourth branch, so to say. So anyway, she's jumping over that diamond. She is just above the Fornax constellation, which is the furnace where India and China are scooping coal into a heap of smokestacks, causing smoke to billow up above the entire lust quadrant of the image. So her legs are anatomically identical to both of these cards. Her color scheme is the very same color as this lust card. Asmodeus, being the spirit of lust, is very corresponded to August, and having an august nature is to be a lustful person. So it's not, these things are literally where the language meets the zodiac. Like our mouth sounds are adhering to the lusciousness, the licentiousness of the August spirit of the life cycle of the annual rise and fall of the battle between light and dark, the yin yang, really, the ling lang. This is the ling lang of the language. Okay, so next on the list, I want to fall down onto Glutton. As Glutton looks to me very much like if I took this, I just might try. If I took this card and turned it sideways, I'll bring an image forward and put it underneath this fella holding this barrel in his lap. Then the barrel would be the devil on top of Uncle Sam, whose color scheme is exactly the same, and the Uncle Sam, whose color scheme is the same as the devil, they've switched the color schemes, would be laid out with his mouth open, having this poured into his mouth. And it's either way you want to see this. If you want to see the eyeball is corresponding to the eye of Uncle Sam with his extremely short, sharp nose, exactly like that character. That's how I see it. Also, um, Machiavelli referred to Venice as the epicure, the city of the epicure. And so, sure enough, I took the city of Venice in a map and I put it next to this card, and the darkness between the face and the tower looks like a map of Venice. I'll bring that so everybody can check that out. That's pretty fascinating to me. Um, I've also corresponded this to other orange man bad faces consuming McDonald's every night. Very Saturnian, really. Okay, next I want to talk about the Corrup family symbol, this logo on the key of the Hierophant. It has been used with like Led Zeppelin, secret societies, Lacan. His real, imaginary, and symbolic are generally depicted as a holy trine, much like this key. But I'm seeing the Krupp family logo from Germany. They made a great deal off of the war industry in advancements in cannons and ballistics. But it's fascinating to me because the greed aspect, number 5, greed, in the Economist is a train of greedy politicians being consumed by a tunnel that looks very much like the robes of this Hierophant, and Krupp family logo is designed on the secret formula for their railroad tracks. So this literally is the formula for their railroad tracks, and the symbol for greed and corruption in that comic was a railroad going into a mountain. So I'm very much considering that to be this up the skirt of this Hierophant, who is also relates to Kant, Kantian philosophy. We'll just say that the Hierophant and Kant are hand in hand because Nietzsche called Kant the Chinaman of Königsberg, and you could set your clock by him going on his walk at 3:30. That's a nice 33 hail sign to you. Okay. Last was, the AraAltar. Okay, so the devil at the foot of the entire image, overlooking the whole scene. He's holding the NEWS in his hands. He's holding the cover of The Economist in his hands. So it's meta, right? It's become meta. The overseer is meta. News becomes a 55555. This is Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio. And I'm pretty sure in septenary it's all 5s. Nope, it's a ordinal reduced. The first 3 are all 5s, and the 7, the S at the end is the shape of a 5. But the news is the 4 towers. It's invoking the 4 winds, the 4 angels, the thrones, and the Ophanum. So he's up there holding the news. He's holding the thrones and the Ophanum in his hands, overlooking the map for the plans of what's to roll out. And his tail is pointing at the climate change switch. And the climate change switch is the AraAltar constellation that I've been talking about so much. AraAltar constellation is the monolith. It is the cell phone in all of our hands. It is the podium in the staircase. It's the touchstone that all of the speakers have to come and take their turn to speak at. And it's the podium in the staircase where Ashley Babbitt was killed. It's also the podium that the Chewbacca allegedly stole and ran away with. But it's also the word change. This AraAltar constellation being corresponded to, just easily flip-flopping it and articulating perfectly this heptad is fascinating to me because it means change. It means change. AraAltar and the word change are the trigger. And sure enough, not only was this the Indigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die, not only was it that moment when all the goosebumps were channeled into the revenge, it was also loose change. And when we watched that film, we all partook of a very vengeful feeling of unresolved issues and changed our mind and changed our destiny, changed our fate. And we all were triggered by melted steel beams very much in the shape of the AraAltar constellation. Well, either way you flip it. So for him to have his tail pointing at AraAltar is very correspondent also to Indus constellation, my favorite constellation still, who I think relates to Tiresias and also Tensquattua. But that's a whole bunch of other rants in and of themselves. But also, I just want to go back 2 episodes back in the Slick Dissident when we talked about this Fool card. Here we go. And the Drake's Passage at the foot of the Fool card, and how just 2 episodes ago we were talking about climate change being very correspondent to this Drake's Passage is as it relates to the map of America, the North and South America, NASA, North America, South America, NASA. I know I goofed that up a while back, but I'll bring back the graphic and you'll see that this Drake's Passage seems to be also being pointed at by the tail of the devil up on his mountainside. And also I want to accentuate that AraAltar is separate from the Fornax constellation, where the characters from India and China are shoveling coal. I just wanted to be clear that these are impeccably articulated as separate constellations. And in fact, I think the degrees of removal from the devil's tail, the center of the South Pole, I think those degrees of separation are even accurate. But all right, at this point I'm ranting. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything I wanted to say. Obama. I want to rant on Obama. You know, he's going through that archway. So he's the bringer of the law. It might make sense that in his original coming into the scene in 2012, he might have been playing the role of a giver. He is rocking the pride, you know. He's got some pride-oriented private lifestyle tendencies. But being on the river, and he's about to go through this archway. The archway is correspondent to this Aeon card, because that is the symbol for the north node of the lunar standstill cycles. But it's also, this archway is at the tip of the bull horns in Taurus, as the Aeon card is Auriga the Charioteer. But what is also fascinating to me is not only is his boat riding on the river that is the color of this Aeon card, which goes all the way back to the Scream from Edmund Munch's The Scream painting, that he also did a painting of Nietzsche on the same bridge. Obama is riding a boat, and the boat is about to run into a golden euro that is protruding out of the waters. That golden euro looks so much like the shim protruding out of the waters of this Aeon card that has the toe of the spirit of the Aeon dangling on the shim, as there is a devil on the euro with his feet dangling over the euro, exactly correspondent to the way this entire Aeon card is articulated. The amount of attention to detail is just profound beyond any measure. And then he's pointing his thumb at an elephant that does remind me very much of Hera here. The Hierophantess is another name for the high priestess. He's pointing his thumb at the Hierophantess, and she has a long trunk, which is related to the horn. There's always a horn going to be in this position of this number 2. That is the glory. The horn is the glory. That is the story that is going to be told. But that long curly trunk also reminds me of the hairlock of the Aeon card. Very interesting that Janus uh, of Ganesha long trunk, and the horn of the glory of Hera, and Cleo, the muse of history. Um, I could just keep on going. It's all so consistent. So his boat is about to go through an archway that is correspondent to the North Node there. North Node is an anagram for Odin's throne. Um, so yeah, he's coming in from the number 2 pride position with a correspondent infertile spirit that is named Lucifer. So I'll bring up another graphic I made that's just kind of interesting, putting the infernal spirits in their position, in their correspondence to uh, the the shadow aspect of each personality. And again, I always have to repeat this because some people are new to this, but fear and deceit are not listed as deadly sins. They are late arrivals to the Enneagram in terms of shadow aspects, but they were present. They've they were present in the human experience well before anybody came and tried to map out any kind of psychological imprinting of the sign language, the emotional sign language of the human mind. So yeah, fear and deceit, the 3 and the 6 are late arrivals, but they are very magical numbers as they are the that's the sequence of the circle, the 360-degree protective ring around our intentions. All right, everybody, stay centered. I hope I covered everything. Yeah, and I hope everybody's having an awesome Halloween. Whatever you care to express in terms of commemoration of the ancestors. I definitely love how this project started off with the symposium where they were giving eulogies about love, and I just thought, how could you talk about love as though or something that was dead? And I had to kind of overcome my temporal bias and see it through their lens, what they were talking about with eulogies. And it's just really fun because now I'm looking back at this as a means of giving eulogies to things that have already come in our history books. It's like a really fascinating storehouse. This is like a grain storage of different types of seeds that will, eventually be required for the generations to come to reconstruct the basically the Library of Alexandria is what I think. What I think I'm really looking at when it all comes down to it. All right, bless up everybody. Hap Halloween. Don't forget the thumbs. Don't forget that Cash App.